What's up, everyone? Welcome to Around the ACL. Michelle Thompson here with Anthony Ione and Jake Brannon. Trey Ryder is traveling back from Germany, and I am super excited to talk about the Europe Open, but I wanted to save that till next week since Trey was there. Definitely want to get his take on everything that happened there. But did you guys get to catch any of it? Sometimes it's the middle of the night, but did you grab any of that?
Man, it's on my list.
Okay.
I was actually buried into the mountains, into the Rocky Mountains. I was on an elk hunt all weekend, so
Ooh.
the most I could do was just kind of just see some like little updates, little things that Trey was posting. But I got to get deep into watching matches, so that's maybe something I can watch on my next flight. I go to Egypt on Friday, Meesh. So
Wow, that's right.
I need
Whoa.
about 30 hours of stuff to watch there and back.
That's
So
insane.
maybe that'll be one of the things.
I don't know how you
Dang.
do that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is not your style. I know you. You're right into Cabo, same spot, short trip. You know what you get.
3-hour
You know what
flight.
to expect, and you're right back to Cali.
Yeah, exactly. Jake, did you catch any of it?
Oh my God. No, actually, I was actually really busy this weekend too. We had our first ACL college tour stop this past weekend. I was at
Nice.
TCU down in Fort Worth, Texas. That was a lot of fun, but it was 96 degrees when we started setting up for that tailgate. So it was a brutal one. But no, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch it either. I'm not going to Egypt. I'm actually going to Millsboro, Delaware next
Close.
weekend. So I know it's
Yeah.
it's right up there with Egypt. So
Hey,
I'll have
that's
Yeah.
in
some
the
time to
mix.
watch.
Yeah,
I'll have
that's on the
some,
bucket list. That's on the bucket list, dude.
oh yeah, I'll have some time to watch some of those matches on my way up there too. So yeah, it almost compares to Egypt, but Millsboro,
Yeah.
Delaware. I'll be there this weekend.
Heck yeah.
How long are you going to be in Egypt, Anthony?
We're like 9 days. We fly in on a Friday and then come back on a Sunday. So
Yeah. Okay.
you throw all the travel in there. We're there like 7.5 days.
Yeah, it's actually funny. I was just looking on the map because I'm that bad at geography, and I was like, you know what? Ireland's not that far. Like if you go to New York, or actually if you fly to like Atlanta, for me it's like 4.5 hours, then it's like 7 hours overnight to get to Ireland, and it's floating around in my head. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, maybe I'd have to upgrade
Oh,
though.
that would
I
be
need a
outside
lying
of your
down seat,
box. Heck
so
yeah.
I can't sit in a seat that long. But maybe if I can lay down, we'll see. I might go international besides just Cabo.
Yeah, I had
But
to look at the map too, this one. So we go into Cairo, spend a couple days in Cairo, which is the main city.
yeah,
So that's where you're going to get the pyramids of Giza, right? The stuff that we always see in all the movies. But if you think about all of like the tombs, you hear about King Tut's tomb and Luxor and all these other things. Those are all along the Nile River. So we're actually
okay.
going to dip out of Cairo. Super affordable to travel to Egypt, by the way.
Wow.
Like you'll be blown away at some of the prices it takes. So we're going to take a domestic flight to the bottom of the Nile River, which is the town of Aswan, and then we cruise up the Nile River, and you hit all these tombs and Luxor and all these other archaeological sites on the way, kind of moving up the river, and then back into Cairo and then home. So little land and sea kind of thing. I'm pretty pumped about it.
I never thought I'd be sold to want to go to Egypt, but man, Anthony's got me itching to finally get a flight.
Not me.
That sounds
No,
awesome.
I don't do boats. Nope. I want
No
nothing to
boats?
do with that.
Oh man.
Man, you don't do boats, you don't do long flights, man. It's crazy.
I live a very sheltered life over here. I just like to lie on beaches that are close by. No big deal.
And she hates kids if you throw it back to the open season last year.
Oh yeah. Yep.
hates
That's
kids.
All
the
but
thing.
my own. Yep. All but my own.
Yep.
All right, let's get into it. We have all kinds of new pro partnerships that occurred over the week. I listed a bunch of them here. I'm not going to read them all out loud, but we did see some repeats. So it's interesting to see the teams that decide to stick together, like a Alex Rawls and a Derek Holland, like a Corey Gilbert, Dean Norton, Eric Davis, Matt Sorrells. So we did have some teams go ahead and stay together. And then we had some more surprising ones, like I think it was you, Anthony, said there's no chance the Gores will come back together. And then here they are, right? So you never know. But
Yeah.
Anthony, I'll start it off with you. What do you think about these partnerships? Who are you looking at?
Yeah, so I'm looking at your list. I have a couple others kind of jotted down here as well. I thought Neested, Schermerhorn back together was kind of interesting. I don't know, Jake. What do you think? That got weird. That partnership got a little bit weird. Is it just me, or did it get weird? I mean,
Well, they have that crazy chemistry, right? Because they're like
yeah,
they're friends, they're buddies outside of the cornhole world. So when they feel it, they will start chirping at each other. They'll start like you just yelling, like not like yelling, but like really getting into it with each other. And I'm like, it's like because they're not talking crap about the team they're playing. They're talking crap back and forth to each other. Like if you miss a bag off the right side, he's like, you suck, dude. It was like it's a really weird relationship, but hey, if it works, it works.
dude, it absolutely annoyed a lot of the other players. I remember one celebration. I don't even know how it happened, but they embraced each other. Somehow they fell on the floor and they're like rolling around on the ground. I'm like, what is happening right now? But they ended up surprising all of us. None of us really had them in a top 10. I mean, if we go back to when they first became a partnership, they had those 2 sick runs at the first Natty, blew us off. I mean, they were in the championship match. They were going through teams like, at the time, it was like Windsor Hicks and Richards Lopez twice to win the bracket. And then they ended up in that final. It was JBJ and Chamberlain, if you remember, that took down the first national. Yeah. They played Joe Kay and Jeremy Schermerhorn in that final. Nobody would have guessed that. So they did have a lot of success, but if we look to last season, they kind of slipped a little bit, right? I mean, Joe Kay was on the grind. What do you got there, Jake? I see you.
Yeah, well, you use past tense, did, as in it has already happened. As in last season, they did not meet those expectations.
Yep.
They didn't come close to those expectations. So me personally, I don't really know if I like this matchup. Now I could really be proven wrong. As soon as they get back on the boards together, that chemistry could pick up their games 100-fold. But as it sits right now, neither one of them had a spectacular season last year. So you're kind of, putting 2 mid-card pros together, and I don't really expect a lot from them. But I like to be proven wrong.
Wasn't there even a speculation of Joe Kay not continuing this? Is that just me that thought that?
No, okay. I thought that was out there for a second. Yeah, I mean, this guy, what is it? Is it like robotics or something in engineering?
I forget. He does something crazy, but he makes he does something really cool that I could never imagine doing.
Yeah, super smart dude. I think he was starting to look into, and I think he still might be pursuing. We'll have to maybe get more into that, but pursuing, what he was actually went to school for and where his passion was pre-cornhole. So that could come into the mix too. I mean, shout out to Schermerhorn, a new dad, right? He's got a little kiddo out there. So you throw that into the mix too. So I feel the same way you do, Jake. I don't see them doing what they did as a partnership, coming out to both Natty 1 and Natty 2, winning their brackets in the first 2 nationals unexpectedly. So that one was a little bit interesting. But hey, Ellis and Harbaugh, I mean, when we saw the Graham Trzynski partnership drop, that was shocking news across all of cornhole. Ellis Harbaugh has got to be up there as well. I mean, you're talking about the number 1 and the number 6 players in singles. And you look at Ellis, I mean, he was tied at number 1 in doubles with Hart. So let's pull Hart out. Let's put Devin Harbaugh now across the board. Are you kidding me? I mean, if we're talking about powerhouse doubles teams right now, Ellis, Hart are absolutely at top of the list. I like Trzynski, Graham as well. I mean, you have to put the other number 1 team in the mix too with Richards and Smith. Those 3 to me are super legit squads, but you got those other ones out there as well. You got Rawls Holland coming back together as a partnership. And we see some teams have success where you've got that one guy that can run bags with an airmail and the one guy that can play that dirty game. We saw a lot of that at success with that combination of teams. So I think that would be, if you're talking about your top teams, certainly Harbaugh and Ellis got to be at the top. And, talking about like a team like Rawls and Holland, if you look at some of the stats coming off of last season, Derek Holland will surprise you. I mean, he was number 2 in our 3 categories that we track: PPR, 4-bagger percent, and DPR. He was number 2 behind Matt Guy in PPR and 4-bagger percent on the season. So a much improved Holland coming off of the previous season. I think those guys could be super tough as well. I'm really excited about seeing what Ruben and Trader are going to do from a new partnership. I was just talking about the guy who can run a bag in an airmail paired with a dirty player. Here's a classic example of a Jay Rubin and a Ryan Trader. Now, what Jay Rubin does is he brings that speed control. He doesn't necessarily need to run bags at a high PPR. He's going to give a little on the PPR. He's going to take that down just a little bit to get a bigger gain on the DPR, and that's where we see players have success in this game. The other players like that, I mentioned Rawls and Holland, Sorrells and Davis, another one of those players where you kind of have that bag runner airmail with a dirty game. Sims and Wilson were also just like that. Halbert, Trzynski were like that. So I really like Rubin and Trader together. We saw Rubin show up at Worlds with Cash Chamness in the advanced division and show that he has still got his stuff. And the thing about Jay Rubin is I think he's got that Mamba mentality. He's got that grind. He is ready to go. And already you can see his social media bumping up a little bit, throwing all these bags, different types of bags. You're seeing what he can do, running bags. We're seeing that he's still at a high level. And I think that he might bring a little bit more than what we saw at his last World Championship. I think his game has evolved from the last time we see it. Now, is he going to come out and be a full, bag runner and a blocker and that kind of thing? I don't think so. But we might see Jay Rubin come out with the game he had before, bumped up a little bit, and then mix in a little, maybe just a little roll when he needs it. It's not going to be the beautiful roll that we see from his partner across the boards like a Trader, but he's going to be able to get over traffic and tumble some bags. So I'm excited about that one as well. What do you got there, Jake?
Yeah, so I kind of broke it down. I have 3 teams that I love this upcoming season and 3 teams that I don't necessarily love. So I'll start with the teams I love, and I'll stay with the hand that you were just talking about, Jay Rubin and Ryan Trader. I absolutely love this team. The way I see it, I kind of think that Jay Rubin is going to try to take Ryan Trader under his wing going into his sophomore season, kind of like a cornhole dad. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. Teacher to student, if I may, for
kind
Ryan
of like
Trader
a
did.
Wilson and Sims situation, right?
Exactly.
Dude,
Now,
we saw him do that with Chamness at Worlds. So I think what you're saying is on point. He's going to come out and do the same thing in the pro division.
Exactly. I think they're going to do great things. And right now in my book, they are a top 5 team. I cannot wait to see what these 2 do on the boards together. Now, I will say, we're going to talk about it a little later with that step over change. I'm curious to see how Trader adapts to that. But, I mean, he's got the mentality, one of the best mentalities in the game. I think he's going to have no problem adjusting that. But we'll see. Another team I really like, Tanner Halbert and Justin Rule. 2 players with you mentioned 2 players with differing game styles. Now, these are 2 players with the exact same type of game style. They're going to try to have high PPRs. They're going to try to run bags and beat you throwing 11s and 11.5s. They play in the same area locally in Florida, so they're going to be able to play those regional tournaments. They're going to be able to play those weekend cash tournaments to try to build up their chemistry. They both throw the same type of bag, those AARs. I think they are going to have a really good season. They're probably one of my dark horse picks for this upcoming season. I feel like with all these new partner changes, all these top teams that are being prepared, nobody's really talking about this team of Tanner Halbert and Justin Rule, but I am. And I'm curious to see what they do this upcoming season. So I'm putting them on my list as well.
Justin Rule is gangster. I mean, he was one of those players that did amazingly well and just never really broke into that broadcast match or that big match that put him on the match. I mean, if we go back to the stats we were talking about, PPRs in the league, number 1, Matt Guy, number 2, Derek Holland, number 3, Justin Rule. So he was right up there in PPR, and he was also in the top 10 in 4-bagger percent. So, and most people don't know, and I think you were kind of alluding to that, his game is so much more than running bags and hitting 4-baggers. That dude has got a legit roll bag if he needs it.
Yes.
And the ability to push through traffic. So I think he has all the boxes checked to be a top 10 player in singles and do work in doubles, like you were saying.
For sure. The final team that I absolutely love this upcoming season, you already talked about them a little bit, Alex Rawls and Derek Holland. Yes. They had fantastic chemistry all season. They would be absolute fools to split up because, they were a top 5 doubles team last year, and they're only going to get better as the season progresses, for sure. Now, let's move into some teams that I don't necessarily love. The first one that's on my list, Matt Wilson and Colby Shearer.
Okay.
Matt Wilson was one of, if not the best elite player last season. And I am saying this solely so Colby Shearer uses this as bulletin board material. But I just straight up think Matt Wilson could have found someone better. And I hope Colby listens to this. I think he had a lackluster rookie season last year, and I really hope he can clip this whatever he wants.
He came alive at the end. He came alive at the end.
Still not enough for me. I want him to use this as bulletin board material, and I want him to prove me wrong. There's nothing else I would love more to be proved wrong, but I just don't think I like that team right now. So we'll have to see it from Colby Shearer.
All right, hey, respect. I respect your opinion. I got to tell you, though, I really like Colby Shearer. For me, it was Tony Smith and came out and did what he did. He jumped from like the 49 position into the top 10. And then we go to Ethan Walker. He was like a year ago. If you go back and watch one of the podcasts from a year ago, I said, watch out for Ethan Walker. I think this guy has the ability to go from the 40-something spot into the top 10, just like Tony Smith. What happened? He was fighting for a world championship in the finals, against Trey Birchfield. I see that same level of talent in Colby Shearer, that same potential in Colby Shearer. So I'm really interested, and you get a good look. You get a better look than me working your way through the opens, hitting all 16 of those opens. I think you get a much better snapshot of the talent out there, like a Matt Wilson and what Colby Shearer is capable. You're calling the matches. So I respect what you're saying here, and I'm taking that into consideration. But I think Colby Shearer has the ability to be a top 12 player.
Look, you mentioned he shows the potential, but I haven't seen it yet. Seen it yet. So look, and like I said, I'd love to be proved wrong, but because I love Colby as a friend. He's a great kid, but I just haven't really seen it on the boards yet. So we'll see. The
difference for him, if you're listening, Colby, give me a little bit more slick side and the ability to collect off of the left side, and your game's going to change. The role's there. We already know it. You're going to be able to roll and clean up and play that dirty game, but give me a little more slick side collects and pushes. He's going to be nasty.
And I think this is going to be another scenario where Matt Wilson kind of going to take Colby under his wing, because, Matt Wilson is probably one of the more mature players in the entire pro division. So if he can harness that potential that Colby Shearer has, I think they do have the ability to be a great team.
I agree. I think Matt Wilson's a great leader. So I think that has a great potential there. You're right.
Let's move on. Another team that I don't necessarily like, it's Trey Hunt and it's Justin Duke. I absolutely hate that Trey and Bobby split up after this season. They were a fantastic team. And for me, it's just hard to justify that this team would be better than another season of Trey and Bobby Hunt.
That's fair.
I feel that.
Fair.
Hey, if Meesh, maybe we could just – did you have something there, Jake?
No, you're good.
I just wanted to mention, we might not have time to talk about them, but just for those out there – and I had some more on my list here, but obviously we have Cano Soto out there. Frazier, Rozier, I thought was pretty interesting. They're going to be another partnership this year. Hart coming off of Ellis, he's going to partner up with Roybal. Roybal, who surprised us all season. Hart surprised us all season. So I'm kind of pulling for those guys who essentially were kind of dark horses this season, kind of outplayed what we expected coming together. Excited to see what they can do. We mentioned Thorne and Thorson. I know we're going to jack that up on the broadcast, Jake. I'm pretty sure we're gonna be messing those names up at some point. The Thors. What was Trey was saying last week? He
Team
was like,
Thor. That's
Team
right.
Thor. I know I'm gonna say Hunter Thornton. I know that's gonna happen.
It's coming.
I like Gilbert Norton coming back together. If we could get that energy, the fun that they bring to the game, I would love to see that on a broadcast. In a pro doubles scenario, I think that would really do well for the game of cornhole. Those guys are so fun to watch. I want to see them start showing up on some broadcasts.
Yep. Jake, I think you have one more, right? One more you don't like?
Yeah, I can talk about them real quick. One more I don't like, and it's not that I don't like them. It's more of I'm intrigued to see what they can do, and that is Cameron Belvin and Noah Almanza. I didn't necessarily expect a pairing like this to happen. Noah Almanza came off a fantastic season, so I'm intrigued to see what they can do, but I'm on the fence about this team, whether they can actually perform or not.
What do you consider performing? Like, for me, I think a good performance is if you're a top 50 team. If you requal, That's my thought of a really good season. Where do you see them finishing?
For Almanza and Belvin, because solely they're both great. So, but you put them together, I think I want them to be at least a top 25 team.
Okay.
I think they have the potential to be a top 25 team. I don't know if they will or not. So we'll see.
Some other ones that I just thought were interesting: Trevor Brooks, Dawson Manuel. They're same area, right? Is that probably why that came together? Okay.
Yeah, that was interesting because at Worlds, Trevor was pretty open about it. He's like, I don't even know if I'm going to be here next year. Like, we weren't sure Trevor was going to return. So we're going to get another season of Trevor Brooks.
Yeah, and then Colin Hodett and Brady Foster. That's a young team.
Yeah, another regionally based team up in the northern area, the Massachusetts area.
And Dan Glukowski and Steve Schrader. That was what do you think about that one?
Be fun. Just two old dudes slinging some bags. It's going to be a lot of
fun. Absolutely.
No doubt. Jake, real quick, because you did the don't like. Jake and Jack, don't like.
I'm on the fence about them.
That's a tough one, right?
I really am. Because here's the thing. They're so good, but they're also really they're still young. They haven't matured to their fullest of capabilities yet. And I think all it takes is that one of them to have one bad round. The other one will give up on each other, and then they'll start fighting. And that's all it will take.
That's it.
But then on the other hand, they don't do that. They can be the number one team in the world.
Bingo.
Right? You never know.
All the talent in the world. All the talent in the world.
Can they lift each other up, or are they going to tear each other down? That's essentially what it comes down to. Siblings, right?
Exactly.
News around the league. We had a couple last chance pro qualifiers that happened over the weekend. The Mountain North, we had Clint McJunkin win, and in the Atlantic, Clayton Kennedy. So congratulations to both of them. Coming up, we still have the West, the Mid-South, and the Mid-East. And then that will wrap up our last chance qualifiers. Anthony, any quick thoughts? Any familiarity with any of these?
No familiar. I don't know those guys. Maybe you know them from the Atlantic side. I don't know the Mountain South, or excuse me, the Mountain North name at all.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird because Clayton Kennedy, I didn't really know who he was until a couple of months ago. He came, at least in my opinion, out of absolutely nowhere. Advanced doubles world champion with Anthony Eastridge. And then he comes and just destroys everybody in this pro qualifier. I was looking through the bracket. He didn't average under a 10 in any single one of the bracket games that he played, including a 10-9-7 in the overall finals to take it down.
Do you have his DPR right there in front of you by chance?
I don't have it in front of me, no, but it wasn't close. It was disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, so he played with Anthony Eastridge. Is this a young kid then?
No, Clayton's old. Clayton's older. If I had to guess, I would say late 20s, early 30s.
I like that. That's old, but yeah.
Well, compared to Anthony Eastridge, absolutely.
Fair enough.
Anthony Eastridge is a 16-year-old who looks like he's 42.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, we're getting old, Meesh. We're getting old.
Yeah, I mean, we're ancient. It's all good.
That's why he's going to Egypt, right? He's going to go look at the tombs that were built when he was born.
Exactly. Exactly.
We'll walk down memory lane. We mentioned the no follow through step that's coming in this season. The other big change that I wanted to highlight was no headphones on televised broadcast. I think this is going to impact players quite a bit. It's sometimes the crutch that people use to stay focused. And, on a broadcast court, at least you can't hear, Anthony and Jeff and Trey. They're far enough away. On a live stream court, maybe you can. But you got the crowd, right? And the crowd is either going to be in your favor, not in your favor. They could be yelling for you to airmail. And I've seen people go, like in the player mic, I shouldn't airmail. I'd listen to the audience. It definitely plays a role. So, Anthony, I'd love to hear your thoughts on either one of those rule changes and how you think it might impact the season.
Yeah. So, I mean, on the follow through, I just pulled up real quick the singles rankings, and I was kind of going through these. I mean, in general, our best players in the league are not going to be following through. I mean, if you kind of look at the list, Jeremiah Ellis, he doesn't follow through. Adam Hissner doesn't follow through. Eric Davis doesn't follow through. It takes us to get to like a number 4, Trey Birchfeld, and you can kind of argue that he kind of has that little mini follow through step. I mean, it's almost like his back foot just kind of comes to the front of his toe. It does cross the line. Do I think that that's going to be a big deal for him to clean up? I don't think that's going to be a big deal at all. Jacob Trzynski doesn't follow through. Harbaugh, number 6. Chamberlain, number 6. Wilson, number 8. It takes me a while to go down the list. Jamie Graham will step when he wants to. We know that he has 9 different pitch formations in his playbook. He could do it or he can't. So I don't think that there's going to be any advantage or disadvantage. I don't think it's going to really affect the top 20 players. It really takes us to get deeper into the ranks. I mean, even to a number 32 Bernasette, where he'll use that follow through on his like really hard pushes and stuff like that. But honestly, your top guys aren't following through. It takes us to get deep into the ranks.
Ryan Trader, right? I mean, he's definitely up there.
Sure. Yeah. Ryan Trader's going to be up there just like a Trey Burchville. But in general, like if you look at 1 through 32, maybe you pick 3 guys out of there that would step. Now, Trader would probably have the most drastic change. Burchville's got that little thing. Graham can mix it up. Trader, if you look at your top probably 30 guys, he's probably the one that's going to have to kind of do the most repair to his pitch to get it cleaned up.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Jake, what do you think about either one of the rules?
Yeah, real quick on the step over rule. I wasn't a fan of it, of eliminating initially, because sometimes when you hit a crazy shot, you got to go hard through the pile. You need to step over. But I'm starting to realize that it could be good for the game, especially when it comes to the players trying to adapt, and some of them who are struggling to adjust to it. I know I went to a local blind draw down here in North Carolina, and Jacob and Jackson Gore show up here all the time, and they still step over sometimes, and they're always like, God, I'm trying not to step over, but it's so hard, and like I even find myself still stepping over when I'm really trying not to. It's a difficult adjustment, and I'm really curious to see what happens at this first signature event. Because it's a hard foul. Like if you step over that line, that bag is dead no matter what. So I'm excited to see what happens there. And then I also really like the no headphone rule. I think it gives the players more interaction ability on the broadcast. And I've had broadcast experience. I didn't wear headphones, and you could see the highlights of me talking with Landon Crabtree in our college singles match because we're just having fun as I was getting my butt whipped, but. Yeah, I like it. I like the no headphone rule. So
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of a crutch, but I will say I think it'll be hard for them to adjust, but I think it's the best decision for the game.
Yeah, the thing I like about it too is we talk so much about the players, but for me, it's also about the fans as well. So like for me, sitting in the stands, I'm a guy who I'm in the match. Like I'm cheering on a good shot. I'm telling someone good bag. I find myself when they have headphones on, I don't really talk to them or cheer them on as much because they can't hear me.
They can't
if
hear
I'm
you.
like,
exactly.
If I'm like Mark Richards, sick bag, he can't hear me. Like, what's the advantage of cheering him on or giving him some props if he can't hear me? And I think it gets the fans more engaged when the headphones go off, knowing that they can hear everything that's going on. And if we talk about who it might affect the most, I mean, one of them that comes to mind for me is the number 2 player in this pro division last year. The guy that really came back was Eric Davis. We know Eric will, and here's I don't even know what you want to call it. It's almost like a disguise. Some people will put their earphones in. They don't necessarily have them on. They just don't want the person next to them talking to them. It's not the fans. It's not the whatever. They just don't want to be talked to or chirped to from that person. So, and I think Eric might have been one of those guys, I think, would put the earphones on. Maybe nothing was on, just so no one would, his opponent wouldn't talk to him. So Eric Davis might be one of those guys that I'm thinking that could be affected by the rule. Jacob Trzynski, we saw him make that run with his big headphones on. He made that big run. Do I think he's going to have a problem? Heck no. That guy is super engaged. He's going to embrace all the noise. We saw Devin Harbaugh throw his headphones at one point to take down an open. He's like, get these things out of here. He ultimately ends up getting it done. So I don't know. How it's going to play in, but I think one player that comes to mind would be Eric Davis might be affected.
He might not like the players talking to him, but we like it for TV.
One thing real quick, you mentioned Jacob Trzynski. Flash you back to Valley Forge, the final chase man, we were still setting up, and Jacob Trzynski is the first person down into that basement we were playing in, and he pops his headphones on. He was playing on our broadcast court, and Wally and I were standing there. He's like, "Man, I wonder what he's listening to." So we asked him. He's like, "What are you listening to?" So he takes his headphones off. He lets us put them on, and I'd be damned if it wasn't the loudest EDM music you will ever hear in your life. I could not think straight.
He's
For
at a
5
club.
minutes after listening to that. And I was like, good God, how on earth do you play cornhole in that? So that almost it almost makes me think that maybe it will be a crutch for him if he makes it onto a broadcast. He can't listen to that loud music in his head, so he's got to rely on the crowd noise and the DJ in the background. So you never know. You never know.
Yeah, I'm curious about it, that's for sure, but I'm happy about it as a viewer. And we had a sports agent on to ACL Academy talking about what they're looking for and what he thinks will take this sport to the next level. And he said the biggest complaint that he would have about our sport is that our players are just not emotional enough. They're just not giving enough on broadcast. And maybe this could help with that. We could see more of that. And hey, if we get a better review from a sports agent, then potentially we get more sponsors, more money, and we all grow. And so I would embrace this change for sure. Moving on, contender, pretender. I'm going to give you some names. It could be a singles or doubles team. And you let me know if you think they have a chance to win a signature event. So that would be what we are replacing the term national with. So signature event. First one, we kind of talked about it, but Joe Neested, Jeremy Schermerhorn, Anthony.
Yeah, I guess I would have. I didn't read this far down, so this is good. I gave that one away a little bit earlier. They're not going to win a signature event. Love the guys. Super fun to watch. Very talented a couple years back. Can they maintain that? Almost they'd have to rally. They'd have to, erase what happened last year. They went backwards. Can they come forwards with all this other new stuff in their life? I don't see it happening, although I do enjoy watching them play. I don't see them taking down a signature event.
Jake, so you're saying pretender. Jake?
Pretender, yes, sorry.
Yes. That's okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think right now, no, they cannot win a signature event. And, we talked about it earlier. Like Anthony said, both players fell off significantly last season compared to previous years. So I don't think they can do what it takes to get back into it. But, like I said, who knows? They get that fun, joking chemistry back, and maybe they can compete with everybody again. But as it sits right now, they are pretenders.
Yeah, that kind of remind me of like a Corey Gilbert, Dean Norton type of energy of a team. So we'll see how that works out. Matt Guy, Anthony.
This one's always interesting, right? We know we can go back to the stats we were talking about earlier. We mentioned it a few times. Matt Guy is the best offensive player in the game. We know the game isn't just offense. We know you have to prevent your other player from scoring, which is going to require a little bit of defense and the ability to implement an offense in a defensive board. So yes, if this game was all about shooting on an open hole, Matt Guy would hands down win most of these signature events. And it just seems like it's like you can't teach an old dog new tricks, like he does not want to change or evolve with what's happening. I just want to see Matt Guy give a little bit. The guy finished the season with a 10.4 on the season, guys. I want to see him give up 0.2 on the PPR. Throw a 10-2, but I want to see the DPR go up 0.3 or 0.4. So just give a little bit on that PPR. If you give on the PPR the same that you on the DPR, you're going to wash, right? You can't give up 0.2 and then gain 0.2. So we got to see that PPR just go up a little bit, and I think that's where the sweet spot is going to see for Matt Guy to rally back to his signature event. And it's going to require, it could just come down to simply not shooting air mills over level 1 blocks. Oh my gosh. Just stop doing that.
Just stop. So you didn't answer, Anthony. You sidestepped
Pretender.
Okay. Jake?
Wow, my answer is not nearly as intellectual as that one. I said, yes, he is a contender. And I don't care what anybody says until his arm falls off. If Matt Guy is in the building, he has a chance to win.
Okay, fair enough.
Meesh, this is my bad. I didn't see the word chance.
Okay.
I was reading it as these players will win a signature event. A chance to win it. Matt Guy always has a chance to win a signature event. Always has. So I'm going to change that to Contender after catching that word.
Okay. Matt Wilson. Anthony.
Go ahead on this.
You want Jake to take it? Okay.
Yeah. I talked about him a lot earlier before. I say yes again. I think he is a contender. And as I stated before, he was one of, if not the best elite player last season and has proven that he can hang with the big dogs. I don't think there's a rookie or elite player moving into the pro division that I am more excited to watch than Matt Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of potential with this guy. It just takes more than that to win a signature event. We know so many people come in as rookies and they think that they could run through a pro division. But what most people don't realize is when you run into the elite pros, they bring this, when you bring that elite level dirty game, people, I'm throwing this 11, whatever I have a 1.4 DPR in my area. I'm like, well, what area are you from? Who are you playing against? And then they get in the pro division and they realize how good these pros are at being PPR killers. So I'm going to say Pretender on this one. The pro division is another level of defense that most people can't handle.
Okay. How about AJ Sims? As
My
a singles
dog.
player.
Oh, I love AJ Sims. Oh, man. I'm going to have to say Pretender on this one. Love the guy. Love his energy. Love his style. I love everything about AJ Sims. He's such a good dude. But I think it's going to take one little tweak to his game. We know he's a bag runner with a carpet bag. I don't know, Jake. Can you think of another bag runner with a carpet bag who's not a roller, a bag runner with a carpet bag who has success at winning a national, that could win a national?
I mean, I guess do you count Tanner Halbert with those rippers? Those are technically a hybrid carpet, but he has success.
Yeah, he had success, and he had. Well, he made that one shootout run. He had the doubles, obviously the double success with Trzynski across the board.
As did AJ with Braden.
Yeah, it's just tough. I think for AJ, if we could get him to airmail's on point, the bag running's on point, just give me that roll, and we know that he has that kind of, that really tilted carpet bag. It doesn't get backloaded enough to roll. If he can add a consistent roll bag and not have to push through or run, I think that he has the ability. But right now, I'm going to say Pretender.
Jake?
I said Contender with Braden Wilson.
No,
absolutely.
That's not the question.
on the single side, I have to go Pretender. I mean, I love the dude. He's a great guy. But yeah, I mean, Anthony laid it out perfectly. He needs to fix just a couple tiny flaws in his game, and he'll be right there. But as of right now, he's got to be a Pretender.
Jake, what do you think about Quinn Reeves and Austin Waskow as a doubles team?
I think they're okay. I think they're good. I think they're a good doubles team. Do I think they have the ability to win a signature event? No. I'm going Pretender with them. I mean, there's just so many good teams. And when you look at the list, you have to, like, we talked about all the heavy hitters, the Jamie Graham, the Jacob Trzynski, the Tony Smith and Mark Richards, the Devin Harbaugh, Jeremiah Ellis. So you just have to assume that a Quinn Reeves and an Austin Waskow are a little bit on the underdog side of things coming into a big bracket like this.
Anthony?
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I expect great things out of this partnership coming into the new season. They're going to jack up brackets to get through the bracket, then to get through the semifinal, win on a final and a broadcast. Pretender for me.
All right, last one, Anthony. Noah Almanza.
Man, I would love nothing more than Noah Almanza to come back. The most beautiful bag in the game. I don't know, Jake, can you think of a more beautiful bag in the game than Noah Almanza? There's some beautiful ones out there.
There are. I mean, I love me a Logan Hall. Logan Hall's got a pretty bag. Jawan Smith's got one too, but man, Almanza's right there. It's so pretty.
He just snaps that thing off. He's on a comeback, right? He fell. He was he finished 7th in singles his rookie season, fell to like 100 and something, and then had this rally back last year. I'm gonna have to go Contender. I'm gonna have to go Contender on this one. Contender. Dang it.
Jake?
Yeah, I agree. I put Contender for Almanza as well. I think he's I think he's going to get better and better as the season progresses. I really do think this is the breakout year for Noah Almanza.
Okay, I like it. All right, Jake, it is time for Jake's takes. I'm passing the mic
Let's
over to you,
go.
and I want to hear what are Jake's takes this season.
Yeah, Jake's takes. I mean, it's something that I've coined over the years since talking about the local cornhole in Maryland and who I thought was going to be good. And now I'm taking it nationally. Let's talk about my take for this upcoming season. And I want to get your opinion on these two, Anthony. Number one, the sophomore slump is going to be real for Jeremiah Ellis, and he will not win a single signature event this season. Now listen to this. Last year, he stormed out of the gate, destroying everyone. But by the end, pros started to kind of figure out how to beat him and what it takes to do what it takes to beat him. And I think that will continue to happen this season. Him and Harbaugh could win everything on the double side, but I do not think Jeremiah will win a single signature event.
So is that how you're measuring it? Are you saying if he doesn't win a signature, he had a slump?
I mean, well, you got to think he was a number one player in the world last year. He won two national singles titles, which are now the signature singles titles. So, I mean, it may not necessarily a slump, but a significant decrease from what he did last year.
Yeah, I think obviously to go back-to-back number ones, don't think that's ever happened. Does anyone recall that? That's never happened, right?
I don't think so, no.
So it's tough when you're the number one. If you say, hey, if you fall to number two, you're having a slump. To me, it's going to be like a Matt guy that came in his rookie year, finished, top 3 in the world, and then fell to like 27 or something. And then Jamie Graham came off the world championship and then fell to I want to say it was like 22 or something like that. To me, that was a slump. I think he has the ability to be a top 5 player. I think he will still finish in the top 5. So I'm going to say he's not going to slump. I think finishing 5 after 1 is not a slump.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to number 2. Alex Rawls is going to win at least 2 signature singles events this season. Now let's talk about this real quick. So let's flash back to this time last year. Alex Rawls was recovering from a foot surgery and was not able to practice at all up until right before the first pro event. Doesn't happen this year. He's fully healed. He's fully recovered and has had nothing but time to hone his craft this entire off season. And I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to be a top 3 player in the world, and I think everybody is going to be talking about Alex Rawls all season.
I agree 100%. Not very many people stayed with Alex Rawls as a contender, a top 3 or 4 contender through the foot thing. I kept saying through the whole thing, this guy is still going to be good and he's still going to be a top player in the league. So I never fell off of the Alex Rawls train. When you see talent, when you know this game down to the nitty gritty of where fingers are located on releases and strategies and techniques, you know a good player when you see it. And Alex Rawls is exactly that. He could be the number 1 player in the world next year for sure.
I don't think there's a single person in the pro division who is better at bag placement on the board than Alex Rawls.
Bingo.
All right, number 3, let's move over to the women's side. I think Cheyenne Bubenheim will be dethroned as the woman of the year or the best woman in the pro division.
Ooh, who's going to do that?
Let me get into it. So it's kind of felt like every year the talent in the women's division gets better and better. And every year we start out the season thinking, man, this is going to be the year. Somebody's going to beat Cheyenne. Somebody's going to take her down. And it's never happened until this season. And I think that changes because I'm going to give you 3 ladies who have a chance to take it down. Number 1,
hit me.
Riley Schaff.
Yes.
She's been ridiculous. Number 2, women's singles world champion DL Lee. Absolutely amazing. And number 3, the one lady who has been statistically with her throughout the entire way these past few seasons, and that's Sarah Cassidy. I love all 3 of these women's chances, and I think as the season progresses, they are all going to get better. And I think this is finally the year that Cheyenne gets dethroned.
I cannot, in my mind, agree that a bag runner is going to dethrone Cheyenne Bubenheim. I can't do it. So that takes out Dealey. That takes out Sarah Cassidy. Riley Schaff, though, She is the one that
telling
could
you.
come in and finally introduce an elite level dirty game from the women's side. Bella Soprenet is in there, right? I think that she's an amazing player. Just need a little bit more out of consistency out of her on the roll bag. Miranda Coy has the ability to come in there and do that. We saw her demonstrate. She hit some key rolls on some of her matches at the end. It was I want to say it was out in Cali. Some of those broadcasts, she hit some key rolls in those matches. As well as some of the stuff in the pro division. So if Miranda Coy can bring back a little bit of that role queen, I think she can contend. But I love your call on Riley. I think that she could be the one to dethrone Cheyenne Bubenheim. And the key to Cheyenne is not laying a level 1 block. It's laying a level 1.5 or 2, and that's super hard. That means someone like Riley is going to have to be able to turn over to that slick side and hit some longer collects and pushes. But I can see her laying a level 1.5, roll cut, maybe roll, and then cleaning up on the end, forcing Cheyenne to push a deeper block or forcing her to the airmail. And Riley has the ability to do that. I love that call.
For sure. All right, real quick, I got 2 more left. Number 4, Jamie Graham and Jacob Trzynski will be the team of the year. So much firepower, so much emotion, so much energy, and I think these two fit perfectly together. Trzynski's coming off the best season of his career, and Jamie Graham obviously is Jamie Graham. And I think we'll be seeing a lot of them on the broadcast this season.
I don't hate it, but man, the minute Ellis and Harbaugh announced that partnership, because it was Graham and Trzynski that announced first, and I was like, that's the squad right there. I like, obviously we got Richard Smith, we got Kano Soto. I love those 4 teams. I actually like this. I like that call. I like that Trzynski Graham.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see what these two do for the first signature event. It's going to be so much fun. And finally, number 5, Meesh is going to like this one. Eric Davis will be the 2024-2025 MVP.
Oh!
So you don't think the headphones would be a problem at all?
I don't think so. I think he's too good. I think last year was his breakout season with Lucky Bags. I think he's only going to get better this upcoming season. I love it. Eric Davis, MVP. Book it.
I don't hate it. Two things. The bag choice. I like the fact that he got off of those cringy, grindy, super slow bags.
Yeah.
And moved to a bag that's got a little bit more speed, a lot more hole friendliness, and obviously he can still do Eric Davis style shots. I like that. And then 2 was, how did he put it? It was conservatively aggressive is the way that he described his game to me. He went from aggressive to conservatively aggressive, and if he could just back it off just a little bit, but I actually like where he's at. I don't even, if he just stayed right where he's at and improved his play with this new bag and had another year on it, I think that could actually happen.
We're moving into hot takes, so I feel like Jake just gave so many.
I have another one. I wrote another one down for hot takes. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go to Anthony first. All right, what's your hot take, Anthony?
You know what? You got me all fired up over here about Colby Shearer, man. I'm gonna give you a hot take.
No, you always take mine.
Oh, did you?
Oh no.
All right, let's see. Maybe it's different. What do you got?
Okay, so I looked it up real quick. You're right. Colby Shearer finished 125th in the pro division. But I see the talent. I see that there. And if you're out there, give me a little more slick side. I'm going to say Colby is he goes from 125 to top 40.
Okay, ours is different.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. Jake?
All right, I've been riding the hot wave with them all show. I'll bring it back one more time. Matt Wilson, Rookie of the Year.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Mine's that I think Matt Wilson, that's funny that mine are the combination of yours. So I think Matt Wilson and Colby Shearer will make it to a finals on a signature event, be on a broadcast on ESPN.
All right.
Oh, dang.
I like it. That is
warm.
I don't know if they'll win, but I think they can get there. So we've found a theme for our hot takes, not on purpose, but here we are. All right, guys, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time.